Okay, here we go. We're live. Okay, so today, I just also FYI, I don't think I'm going to do this every day, but maybe every other day, I'm going to pop on and talk about one of the other energy types. So today, I want to talk about manifestors, and whatever comes out is going to be perfect because I'm not quite sure what's going to come out yet. So manifestors they're only about 8 to 9% of the population. So they're very small compared to like some of the other types take up about 70% of the population. So manifestors are pretty rare. Not the rarest, but one of the rarest types within human design. And manifestors don't have sustainable energy. So there's only two types within human design that have sustainable or have access, have the potential to, oh goodness gracious, sorry, have the potential to have sustainable energy, and manifestors are not one of them. So manifestors are the types that really, they have the biggest aura. They're meant to be really big and unapologetic about who they are, but they can get a lot of conditioning around being smaller, being people pleasers, like shrinking themselves so that they can please others or so that they can make others feel okay with themselves. Because again, right, they're only 8 to 9% of the population and they have the biggest aura. So the rest of the types, when they come in contact with a manifestor, it can maybe be a little bit unnerving just because what is kind of coming off or what the other could potentially feel is like, ooh, it kind of feels like maybe they're trying to control the situation or they're trying to control me or they're trying to kind of take over. And that's not what they're trying to do necessarily. It's just that they have this bigness about them. And so their strategy, which again is different for each type, and the strategy is how we best interact energetically with other people and with other types. It's how we open up that space so that things can flow easier. And with manifestors, their strategy is to inform. So they are the type that like the Nike Just Do It slogan is for this type. So that just do it, that all of the messaging and the verbiage out there that's like, go out and crush it, like initiate, you got to start, you got to do the thing. That's really only built for 8 to 9% of the population. The rest of us have to wait in some capacity before we're able to best interact with the world, best open up that space so that we don't get misunderstood, essentially, or our not self theme, which is our not self theme is the signpost that comes up and says, hey, you're out of design. Hey, you're not in alignment here. So take a step back and see maybe where things have gone wrong a little bit or what's going on. And so for manifestors, that is anger. And I'm going to come back to the strategy, but that's anger. And so anger can show up as anger, and it can show up as rage. It can show up as rebelliousness, but it can also show up as like accommodation and passivity. So like almost the opposite. It's essentially anything that's really keeping them down and not allowing them to be this like big, vibrant, big personality, big person that's taking up a lot of space. Because a lot of people can maybe say like, oh, that's wrong. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to make others, like give other people the stage or allow other people to shine. It's like, no, like we're all supposed to shine. Like we're all meant to do the thing that we're meant to do. And so like, let's stop getting in our own way and let's stop getting in like other people's way and just allow us all to be who we're meant to be and in the way that we're meant to be it, and stop saying, well, no, you need to do it more like me. Or I need to do it more like this other person. Because when you try to do it like the other person, maybe it doesn't work out so well. Or your not self-theme comes in and rears its ugly head. So anyway, getting back to the strategy, that's to inform. So they're meant to inform people once they make a decision on something, once that urge comes up that says like, oh, I need to go do this thing. I want to go start this movement. I want to create this project. I want to create whatever this thing is, or I want to go do this thing. Now, before I do it, I'm going to inform those who are going to be impacted. Because if I don't inform them, then I'm going to meet the resistance that I'm so desperately like hoping I don't. That I'm so desperately like don't want to be rejected, don't want to come up against resistance from other people. And so manifestors can tend to just not inform people because they don't want to have that rejection. They don't want to have that resistance. But funny thing is, if you don't inform people, then you automatically get that. So it's really learning that, okay, if I'm going to go do this thing, and anybody can start a business. So it's not like only manifestors can start a business, but it's this like, I'm going to create this movement, or I'm going to create this project, or I'm going to go to the park. Like manifestors want to play, like they want to be happy and like have the space to do things. But if they don't tell people about it, then they're going to come up against this resistance. And this goes for all the other types and for anybody who knows a manifestor person. The more that we can inform them on what we're doing, the more that they feel respected and uplifted and supported as that partner in whatever capacity it is, whether it's a partner or a friend or a family member. The more that they can inform us and the more that we can inform them creates this bigger and better partnership between all of us. So these urges, manifestors, like I was saying, don't have sustainable energy, but they get this burst of energy. So they're not meant to work in a traditional capacity of, like a 9 to 5, which, I mean, who has a 9 to 5 anymore? I feel like all of my corporate jobs were way more than a 9 to 5, but a typical 9 to 5 kind of corporate job that they're working and they're doing the thing and they're like crushing it every day, like from that whole time, that doesn't actually support them as well as if they're able to work when they get this urge and this, because with the urge, with this like thing that comes up within them, comes all of the energy that they need in order to fulfill whatever that urge is saying. So if the urge is like, you're going to create this new project or this new, like campaign or whatever the thing is, you'll have the energy in order to create it, but also understand you're not meant to finish it. So all of the verbiage, all of the things, all of the messaging and all of the conditioning that we've probably all heard of like, you're not a good finisher, like you need to finish things. You started this, so now you need to finish it. For a manifestor can be so just like crushing because they're meant to get stuff started. They're meant to like create the thing, blaze the trail, and then pass it off to the rest of us to finish or to continue or to whatever. Like they're not meant to do the thing all of the time. They're not meant to finish the thing every time. And so the more that we can stop putting that messaging out there and that conditioning on people of like, well, you started this, so now you have to finish it. I mean, who as a kid had their parents tell them like, oh, well, you joined this club or you joined this sport team or whatever. So like you're not able to, you have to finish out the season or you have to finish it out. You're not able to quit. And it's like, for a manifestor, like just let them do like whenever they start the thing and they don't have the energy anymore, allow them to rest. They need to rest. The more that they just keep doing and like pushing through, the less and less that they get these urges. And the more that these urges come through and the more that they follow these urges, the more that they're on their path, the more that they get to wherever like their dream life is in a much easier way, in a much uplifting way, and just like, in a way that we're all meant to do it. And we all have our own path, and all the different types find their path and their ease on their path in different ways. But the more that we can follow what is innately true to us and what feels probably as we get to, if anybody knows their type and as we talk about your type, like as we're talking about it, you're probably like, oh my gosh, yeah, that makes so much sense. Like, yeah, the more we can lean into that and stop allowing others or stop allowing ourselves to listen to others and when they tell us like, well, no, you're supposed to do it this way or it looks like this or whatever, and be like, okay, cool. Like, I'm glad that works for you, but this is actually what feels really good to me and I'm going to step into this more. The more that we just all live in such a better life, in such a like more uplifted, happier life. The finishing, the not finishing also correlates to manifesting generators, which we'll get to. I don't know when we'll get to them, but manifesting generators also are those like people that they go and they will maybe start something or like, get really interested in a topic, but then after a day, 2 days, 5 days, 12 days, a year, whatever, they're like, oh, this thing's like not very fun anymore. Yeah, it's not fun for a reason. Like, get out of it. So hopefully that answers your question. But we will talk about manifesting generators because I love them so much and they're a big part of the population. So the other thing, I don't know how long I've been talking, and this is what happens when I do things with human design for anybody I've had sessions with or anything. It's like, oh, one more thing. But the other thing, so you have the signpost of saying like you're out of design. This isn't the thing that you're you're maybe pushing it up against something. You're making it more difficult for yourself. That's anger. Then the other signpost that's like, hey, you're doing it, you're in design, you're living the thing, like good job, is peace. So it's this feeling of peace. And that feeling can feel different to every manifestor. So it's really everything about human design is finding out what it feels like for you specifically and how it relates to your life, how things just kind of go out in front of you. Like, how that feels and relates to you specifically. So your signpost, what's called your signature in human design for a manifestor, is this feeling of peace. And you're always going to be going between the two signposts of, hey, you're out of design and here I am in anger again, which hopefully now you can start looking at in more of an uplifting way of like, oh, cool. Okay, now I can troubleshoot this instead of telling myself like, ugh, like here I find myself in this thing again, or whatever the case may be. Now we can take, like, I laugh a lot when I find myself in my not self things. I'm like, here I am again. Like, okay, great. Like, didn't wait for an invitation or whatever the thing is. And now I can now I can troubleshoot it and move forward in like such a more uplifting way than before when I would just like sit in that not self theme and just let it fester. And that's not good because then lots of illnesses and not fun things come up. And who wants to sit in anger for more than like 2 seconds, right? So hopefully that's helpful. I know this is like a really quick rundown of manifestors, and this is not everything at all to do with them. There's definitely a lot more, but I'm hoping that the little bits and pieces will help people understand your design a little bit better. So hopefully this was helpful. If you're a manifestor, you are a small part of the population and you are here to go out and do stuff and create and to start the things, blaze the trails, start the stuff, be the cause so the rest of us can be the effect, and make sure that you're informing those that you're going to impact of what you're about to do so that you can create that trail of no resistance. And also for everybody else who's not a manifestor and that know a manifestor, make sure that you are informing them as well of what you're doing or what you're about to do or whatever, just so that they feel uplifted and supported also. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. And then I don't know what I'm going to do next, but I'm so excited. Probably projectors. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. And like on a non-related human design note, on both Instagram and Facebook, I posted that if anybody has an animal, I'm an animal communicator also. If anybody has an animal that they want to have a question asked to, that you can go find that post, and then you can post a photo and a question, and I will get to those. So, okay, I hope everybody has a great Thursday, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye. Oh, whoops.